this can't be seen as anything but good for the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo has a 31-14 record as a starter with the Niners in his career. He had the shoulder surgery, which kept him out from getting picked up from other teams. But there's no way that the Niners were going to release him and have him walk on over to the Seahawks, their biggest rival in the NFC West. So I think this makes sense for Jimmy because Jimmy doesn't want to go to a crap team. That's why he's got the no trade clause. And I think it's good for the Niners because heaven forbid, if Trey Lance goes down, I don't think that this means that they don't have faith in Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is still going to be the starter. But if something happens, then you have someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, who again, 31-14 record with the Niners as a starter. We talked about the incentives a little bit. I actually think that this is good for the Niners in terms of their cap space as well. He's got that base salary of $6.5 million. And then his per game roster bonuses, he gets $500,000 for playtime, per game, playtime incentives, playtime incentives, $8.45 million, not likely to be earned, and the salary cap hit is $8.94 million. It's still less than Trey Lance's salary, which I do think is important for the team. It's also important for Trey to give him that confidence. But again, I think this is great for the Niners. I am very, very happy because, as we've seen in the past, when your QB1 goes down, like Jimmy Garoppolo, your season is toast. The Niners are ready to win right now. Having two viable quarterbacks is a very good thing for my Niners. Kenny, what do you think?
Katie, what's the one thing I always say to you? When you got two quarterbacks, you got
none. But last year we had two quarterbacks. We made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, Kenny.
Right. But this year is a little different, right? Because let's just say, right, Trey Lance starts 0-2, 0-3. Imagine the pressure that's going to be on Trey Lance's shoulders, knowing that Jimmy Garoppolo.
Imagine the pressure that was on Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulder. This is the argument that bothers me, Kenny, because everyone keeps saying like, "Oh, it's gonna stress out Trey Lance." What do you think they did to Jimmy last year? And look what happened to him. I do think the competition makes everybody stronger. And if Trey Lance really, that's maybe his new nickname, Trey Lance is that guy, then a little bit of pressure shouldn't be anything for him.
Yeah, I mean, but again, is he that guy? That's the thing, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, we know he's a proven commodity in the NFL. When he was with the Patriots, he won. They traded him to the Niners. He wins there. So we know Jimmy Garoppolo can get it done at the NFL level. We have no idea what Trey Lance can do. He looks good. The arm looks good. There's the stories coming out of the training camp sound great. But when you're in game time, real speed, things are different. So, I mean, yeah, I guess in a sense, it's not a bad thing because, if Trey Lance does go down, you have Jimmy Garoppolo to back him up. But at the same time, you have a young quarterback. He was a rookie last year, but he didn't really play much. So this is his first true season as an NFL quarterback. And it's just a lot of pressure for a young kid to have, a guy that was a couple bad plays away from taking them to a Super Bowl, which they probably would have beat the Bengals had they advanced to that Super Bowl. So it's just a lot of pressure.
Tart gets that interception. We're talking about it entirely. But then I wonder, what could have Jimmy done, right? Do you think if he made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, would they have kept him another year? I don't know that there's anything Jimmy could have done to have stayed to be QB1 once they made that decision for Lance, because you would think making it to the NFC Championship game, and like you said, just a couple bad plays away that weren't necessarily all his fault, we could have been, obviously I'm wishful thinking here, but we could have been Super Bowl champions.
No, I think if the Niners won the Super Bowl, Jimmy's job would have been secure, right? Because how do you bench a guy that just won you a Super Bowl? You can't do that.
How do you bench a guy that got you all the way to the NFC Championship game? I mean, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. I did go on a tangent earlier, but the Niners are saving nearly $17 million in cap space. I know there was a lot of talk about how keeping Jimmy would just totally ruin the cap space, and it's not. They're fine. They have the fifth most cap space in the NFL at $21.3 million per over the cap. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Obviously, I think, don't be surprised if you see Jimmy G play this season, whether that is Lance isn't there yet or he gets injured. But I wouldn't be surprised.